Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Pal Over Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another discussional type of video. This one continuing from the last one, so if you like this type of content, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, drop a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys, it goes a massive way to helping out the channel too. Now, as I've said, this is a sequel to the most recent video, so this is the second one to do with getting into the Age of Sigmar for a budget of £200 and what you can get for your money. So as with the other one, obviously we can't list every faction in one video because it would take forever. I'm not gonna lie, it would drain me, it will bore you to death. So with that said, we're gonna crack on with looking at two more factions from the Forces of Order. Now, if Order is your type of thing, you have plenty of factions to choose from. Now, with this, for £200, you can get some really good units, and every Forces of Order are fairly well balanced, so it's pretty damn good for 200 quid. Now, with this one, I feel like that we need to look at two specific races, and they are the Dwarden races, the Kharadron Overlords, and the Fyreslayers. These hearty Dwarden races, while being very similar in some ways, could not be much further apart. One faction prefers to live in lodges and fortifications, and generally wear next to no armour at all and are very melee focused. The other are very heavily armoured, they live in skyports, and they use a lot of technology and a lot of range. So, both factions have a lot going for them, they are both tough, they both have a lot of unique units, and they are very aesthetically unique. So, without further ado, we're going to crack on with it. Firstly, we're going to look at the Fyreslayers. Now, similar to last video, I will choose certain items, and I will give you a bit of pricing at the end, and a bit of pricing for the box that can get you started. Now, for this, I have used, obviously, Games Workshop's own website, because, you know, it's the home of Warhammer, and for its alternative pricing, if you want to go for a third party and save yourself some money, I have utilised pricing from Wayland Games. You obviously don't have to stick with Wayland Games, this is not an ad for them. You can, if you want to spend your money with Goblin Gaming, Wayland Games, Alchemist Workshops, Broadsword Ward Gaming, or anywhere else that is nearby to you where you can get your minis from and hopefully save yourself some cash. So, without further ado, the Fyreslayers. So, for this one, I have gone with a start box, of course. So, for this, I have chosen the Stormbringers, Fury's Flamebearers set. So, you can, if you wanted to choose for an extra £5 from GW's website, go for the Vanguard Fyreslayers box. Entirely up to you. Personally, I've gone for Fury's Flamebearer set because you get that new Grimhold Exile mini, although he does have really weird eyes that I don't really like. He's a pretty cool mini, so it's not too bad. With him, you also get 5 Auric Halfguard, 5 Halfguard Berserkers, 10 Volkite Berserkers, and that is it for your money. Now, the Auric Halfguard and the Halfguard Berserkers can be built as each other, or you could build them as 10 Auric Halfguard or 10 Halfguard Berserkers, entirely up to you. That's how these ones work. But this is an £80 box directly from GW. Some third-party retailers, such as Wayland Games, have it listed at £68, which is a bargain for 21 minis. So, it's entirely your choice, but that's pretty good for your money, in all honesty. Now, I then personally would choose to add a bit more of hero minis to it, so because of value for money and how kind of fun they are and cool they are. So personally, I would choose a Doomseeker and a Grimwrath Berserker. These two heroes will set you back £41.50 through GW. They're both going to be the same price on Wayland Games at the moment. You might be able to get them cheaper from other third-party retailers, but they are really, really cool, and I love the look of them. They look awesome. So, then you need to bulk out them units. So I would choose 10 more of the Volkite Berserkers. So one box of these gives you 10 more minis. You have some alternate building options with them. So if you wanted to, with the 10 that you already get with the Dawnbringers box, you could go with them with the hand axes, and then with the other 10, you could go with bladed sling shield, so you have the best of both worlds, or you can go for 20 all built the same. Either way, they look pretty cool, and they are very, very much your kind of generic kind of foot soldiers for the Fyreslayers range. Then lastly, I would have to add in another unit of Auric Halfguard, which gives you 5 more minis, and as I said, you can already utilise these to build Halfguard Berserkers. It's entirely your choice. One unit gives you a unit carrying magma pikes that spit out bolts of liquid rock, so a little bit of range. The other are all double-handed broad axes, whichever really floats your boat, whether you want a bit of range or you want a bit of melee, your choice. Either way, if you're buying this from GW, this lot would cost you £191.50, or through some third-party retailers, such as Wayland Games as I used, £169 2p. For an army coming in at around about 1040 points, depending on which ones you build up and such like, that's pretty decent. That's a pretty good value for money, and a pretty decent force of hard-hitting dwarves, which is pretty good, in my opinion. Then we are going to move on to their kin, the Kharadron Overlords. Now these guys have a smaller range of units available to them, but they have more ranged units available and some super tough units that you can field on the battle. So, firstly, we are going to start with the Vanguard Kharadron Overlords box set. This box gives you an Arcanaut Admiral, a tough as nails Arcanaut Frigate, 3 Endrinriggers, and an Arcanaut Company, giving you an extra 10 minis. So, if you're buying this from GW, £85 at the moment, or from third-party retailers, around about £72.25, which, bit of a saving, but really, really cool stuff, especially that Arcanaut Frigate, in all honesty. And then we need to start bulking out the force. So, you can get some really good units. So firstly, I personally would go with another Arcanaut Company, giving you an extra bunch of minis, so it fills them out, so it's another 10 minis, so it gives you more of your foot soldiery to kind of get going with, which is really good stuff. Then I would add in a unit of Grunstock Thunderers. It's less minis, but they're a bit tougher. They have some ranged firepower, and they give you some good support for those Arcanaut companies as well. So really good stuff there. And then I personally would have to add in another heavy hitting unit, and for that I would go with the Grunstock Gunhauler. So another flying unit that accompanies that frigate, plenty of wounds to it, and it can absolutely pummel the enemies, which is what you really, really want when you're utilising mostly ranged units. Now, this lot would leave you with a bit of change from DW, so you'd be paying £187.50. If you're choosing to go for a third party retailer, £164.66 at this current time, and it's a 1070 point army, which is a really good starting point for Kharadron Overlords. So obviously the Kharadron Overlords, though, if you are collecting Stormbringer magazine, you're going to get a bunch of these guys anyway, so they're going to be dirt cheap for you. But this is a really, really good start point for any army if you're buying outright and you just want to buy a load of it just to get yourself going. That's really good stuff. So, pretty damn good. Now, either army is really, really good fun. They come in at a very similar points total, and with only £5 splitting them, either way is a great, great start. So, happy days. Now, obviously, there will be people who disagree with some of my choices. This is all my personal choice. So, entirely up to you if you want to utilise it. If you are going to utilise one of my army lists, well, kind of starting army lists, drop us a comment down below. I'd love to hear back from you. Tell me how it goes with your first battle, everything. Be really cool. And that's it. So, We will go on to another couple of armies next time, and we'll take a look at them. But for now, thank you very, very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.